MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel. Swallowed Star 2. Origin Continent. Volume 8. The Battle of Yulan City. Chapter 310 Mid-Stage God Emperor, The Tao of Life and Death. 5th of Volume 8. Inside a small building within the Dan Tower complex, Emperor Ming and his two assistants were inspecting a batch of elixirs. Countless densely packed pills floated in the air. Qingxin pills. 935 top-grade pills, 72 ultimate-grade pills, one of the assistant assessed, carefully examining them. For the alchemists of the Dan Tower, producing even mid-grade pills would be considered a failure. Waste pills were simply unacceptable. Confirmed. The second assistant verified the count. Di Ming observed the pills, nodded in satisfaction. Divide these pills and distribute them into 2 storage areas. As the deputy master of Qingxin Hall in the Dan Tower, his responsibilities are straightforward: identifying and organizing medicines. As deputy master, he is solely responsible for Qingxin pills, the most popular basic pill in the Dan Tower, contributing to nearly 30% of its total sales. Gathering ingredients and refining medicines are tasks handled by more specialized personnel. The owner of the building refines these pills. And only after alchemist confirms, then once, I verify them and store into the storage. And I would have to verify them once again before selling them. How could there be any accident? Di Ming just felt that it was too easy. Alchemy is the heart of the Dan Tower, but Di Ming's skills weren't suited for such intricate work. Following brother Luo Feng, I managed to secure a position as deputy hall master of Qingxin Hall. Every epoch, I earn 200 Xuanhuan crystals. In 10,000 epochs, that amounts to 2 million Xuanhuan crystals, an effortless fortune. Di Ming was very satisfied with his job. On top of that, he lived rent-free in Luo Feng's cave, further adding to his wealth. Deputy hall master, our production of Qingxin pills has been steadily increasing. One of his assistant reported. I heard that the insect nest isn't happy about this. Will they retaliate? The other assistant asked anxiously. Even ordinary members of the Dan Tower are well aware of the long-standing conflict between Dan Tower and the insect nest. In the past, the Dan Tower had remained passive, but now, with their increased production, it was unlikely that the insect nest would tolerate such competition. Naturally, many were feeling uneasy. Why are you panicking? The building owner and God Emperor Luo Feng are here. What is there to fear? Di Ming scolded. Deputy Hall Master, you're from the Origin world, so you wouldn't be scared, but we are. Many of us have even cancelled our rented places in the Dan Tower, his assistants admitted nervously. The Dan Tower complex had special secluded caves for elite alchemists to refine their skills, but lower-ranking members, such as errand workers, had no such privileges. Without a secure place to cultivate, they felt vulnerable. You all cancelled your rentals. Di Ming was surprised. We don't even dare leave the Dan Tower now. If anything happens with the insect nest, the master might hold us accountable. The two assistants explained, clearly on edge. They didn't have the luxury of clones to protect themselves. Di Ming nodded. From Luo Feng, he had learned that the insect nest lord's spiritual clone had once fought against Luo Feng, and the insect nest lord might come for revenge again. You better be careful, Di Ming warned. Di Ming knew that at his current level, he couldn't interfere in a battle between the lord of the insect nest and Luo Feng. Meanwhile, the members of Dan Tower were anxious. They valued their jobs too much to leave, so they chose to stay vigilant instead. Luo Feng and the owner of Chengqing Pavilion had also made their preparations. Since open competition had begun, they were ready to face the lord of the insect nest head-on. Her spiritual clone suffered a setback. Given her personality, she will definitely retaliate. The owner of Chengqing Tower stated confidently. If her true form attacks, I'll have to rely on defensive formations, Luo Feng admitted. As long as I focus on holding my ground, I should be fine. Just focus on defense, Master Chengqing chuckled. After all, this is Yulan City, where direct killings are forbidden. She can't go on a rampage here, but outside the city, she'll have no restrictions. Even with those rules, I know she won't let this go. She will definitely come for revenge within a few centuries, Chengqing Tower Master predicted. I'll be waiting with my clone when she arrives, Luo Feng said with a smile. However, time passed, 1 epoch passed, and in the blink of an eye, 10 epochs had passed, and the lord of the insect nest hadn't made a move yet. Luo Feng and the Chengqing Tower Master, who were waiting in full vigilance, were both somewhat puzzled. Did she just let this go? The owner of Chengqing Pavilion couldn't believe it. This doesn't match her character. In Yulan City, everyone knows that the lord of the insect nest is ruthless. She's one of the 4 most fearsome figures in the city, alongside the owner of the Guifang, and the owner of the Wanying building. The lord of the insect nest is a tyrannical, she rewards loyalty but brutally crushes those who opposed her. Could it be that after clashing with Luo Feng, she realized she made a mistake? He wondered, looking at Luo Feng. I did injure her using a secret technique, but it was only a minor injury, Luo Feng said doubtfully. A single injury like that shouldn't be worth mentioning. Even though your attack penetrated her illusory insect nest defenses, it wasn't a serious threat to her entire being. It's possible that something in the Dark Holy Realm is keeping her occupied, Master Chengqing speculated. That makes sense, Luo Feng agreed. Time flies. Luo Feng and the Chengqing Tower Master had been waiting patiently and preparing to deal with the Insect Nest Lord's attacks at any time. Unknowingly, 200 epochs have passed. Meanwhile, inside the insect nest, over 2 epochs had passed. The Lord of the Insect Nest had finally stabilized the pollution affecting her domain, but she was visibly exhausted. Losing hundreds of millions of spirit altar ghosts had been a devastating blow. These imprisoned souls had endured endless torment without dissipating, forming a quarter of her total power. Losing so many had weakened her significantly. Back in my home world, I devoured a group of practitioners to restore my spiritual power. Only then was I able to suppress the pollution completely, she reflected. With her strength, the entire origin world of her home was hers to harvest. She could absorb the life force of countless practitioners whenever necessary. However, even she had limits. Though I've stabilized my condition, if my true body faces Luo Feng again and suffers another will-based attack, I might take even heavier losses. Having spent so much time recovering, she wasn't willing to risk another direct confrontation. What she needed was a powerful treasure to shield herself from Luo Feng's spiritual will attacks. She did possess a powerful secret treasure, but it was in the Dark Holy Realm, a place far more dangerous, filled with semi-Xuanhuan beings who wielded even stronger will-based techniques than Luo Feng. For her, securing her position in the Dark Holy Realm was the highest priority. As for Yulan City, I'll have to find a suitable treasure on my own. Without something to protect my mind, I can't face Luo Feng again, she decided. Unfortunately, I've exhausted too many resources and can only gather 3 billion Xuanhuan crystals, which is enough to acquire the immortal heart. This kind of treasures that protects the mind while resonating with one's essence. The Lord of the Insect Nest lamented. Acquiring such a treasure for 3 billion Xuanhuan crystals was considered a standard price, but these artifacts were in such high demand that whenever one appeared, it was immediately bought by influential figures at exorbitant rates. Without a suitable treasure, she had no choice but to endure. Even the elder-level experts had nearly reached their limits in terms of mental willpower. If they were to be struck by Luo Feng's La Yuan technique, they would suffer only minor injuries and recover quickly. However, the Lord of the Insect Nest feared this technique far more than they did. 300 epochs later. More than 300 epochs had passed since Luo Feng's battle with the Insect Nest Master's spiritual clone, yet she had not retaliated. Luo Feng remained on high alert, but Yulan City had been eerily peaceful. Inside the Star Tower, Origin Continent. Seated cross-legged within the Star Tower, Luo Feng focused his eye of life and death, studying the 195th early-stage God Emperor Xuanhuan bloodline. Each drop of Xuanhuan bloodline unveiled deeper insights into the mystery of breaking free from the cage. The intricate, interwoven patterns seemed perfectly aligned with the natural order. However, Luo Feng still had a long way to go before fully integrating these principles into his own cultivation. The more he studied these Xuanhuan bloodline, Luo Feng also discovered the rules contained within them, and his understanding of the fusion of the life and death grew stronger. Now, in his mind, his comprehension of completeness had reached 90% similarity to the Xuanhuan bloodlines. Yet, a mere fusion of life and death was not enough, it was too simplistic. Only by truly fusing life and death into one can I achieve a fundamental transformation. In that instant, inspiration struck. As he attempted the fusion, a new Tao of life and death manifested in his mind. Has the Tao of life and death broken through? Luo Feng was surprised. That fast. Previously, when advancing from the ultimate God King realm to the early stage God Emperor, Luo Feng had spent immense effort meditating and comprehending the Tao. This time, however, his breakthrough was not the result of conscious contemplation but rather the natural outcome of his deep study of the Xuanhuan bloodlines. By accumulating profound understanding of the Tao of life and death, he had unknowingly stepped into the mid-stage God Emperor realm. I really must thank Lord Yuanxiang. The 5 billion Xuanhuan crystals he gifted me have been invaluable for my cultivation. Luo Feng said with immense satisfaction. The rare elixirs I had purchased from the Dan Tower for my assistance over the past 300 epochs were also used frequently. Thanks to these resources, Luo Feng had been able to accelerate his comprehension of the Xuanhuan bloodlines. Even though I had yet to fully comprehend the Xuanhuan bloodline of the early stage God Emperors that I collected in the early stage. There are still more deeper mysteries of mid-stage, late-stage, and even perfection God Emperors ahead. With this newfound understanding, Luo Feng's confidence soared. Now that the Tao of life and death had reached the mid-stage God Emperor level, he could clearly sense the difference. Boom. A boundless sea of blood materialized around him. The power of the mid-stage Tao of life and death was no longer a mere refinement, it was a qualitative leap beyond the early stage realm. The Tao of life and death at this stage should rival the ordinary Taos of semi-Xuanhuan beings. Luo Feng thought. Even with a brief attempt, he could tell that this breakthrough had elevated him far beyond his previous limits. In terms of cultivation realms, he had surpassed several major thresholds far exceeding what he had previously achieved using the immortal heart. Haha. A day worth celebrating. Luo Feng was overjoyed, but his mind quickly turned to another matter. Right. I still haven't delivered the gifts I brought for my master and the others. Ever since returning to the origin continent, he had been immersed in comprehending the Xuanhuan bloodlines. Only now had he finally found the time to visit his masters. Without further delay, Luo Feng gathered his gifts and set off for Chudu to visit Master Di Chu first. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe. MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel.